Going on, good people? Welcome to the Guard Hour. I am your host, Nat Burnz, aka Nat Busy, aka I'm Nat. Dude, if you say that fast, it kind of sounds like I'm that dude, but I'm just saying I'm Nat. You heard? What's going on though? It's the Guard Hour. But we're gonna have some fun today. Want to talk about something today that a lot of people don't necessarily always think about until it hits you in the face, literally, and that's oral health, oral hygiene. You know, especially in the mask era, some of y'all are starting to see what you've subjected other people to when you got your mask on. You know, when you was whispering in the club in your man's ear, "Yo, son," and that thing whipped around and went from the ear to his nose, and he was like, "Yo. Yeah, it was you, bro. Now you got your mask on. You know what's going on. You living foul." So that's what I kind of want to address today. Oral hygiene, oral health, keeping it right, keeping it fresh. So we having a dental hygienist that'll be checking in momentarily, who will be giving us some tips on how to maintain your oral health, your oral hygiene, especially during this pandemic, because we know a lot of people are not able to make it to their regularly scheduled appointments, cleanings, things of that nature. So we're going to see if we can get a little help with that. Today's episode of the Guard Hour is sponsored by Mars Million. And Mars Million is a t-shirt line started by my son, Mars Million. And if you want one like this or something like this, DM me. We can make it happen. I'm just representing today. And plus, I think the orange is kind of vivid. It looks good. I like it. But other than that, man, it's a beautiful day today. I'm here in the state of Maryland, and they just opened up the state today. So we're going to see what this looks like, because to me, it looks like the numbers are still going up as far as, people with the COVID. So I'm a little taken aback that, things are opening up like they are. But we got to deal with it, right? I hope you be keeping your mask on. You're washing your hands like you're supposed to, and you're just being very conscious not to, contract the germ, and also not to spread a germ. But with no further ado, we want to talk to Michelle, the dental hygienist.
Doing good. I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm hanging in there, holding on. I have been out of work since March 19th, and we've been discussing our plan to get back to work over the last 2 weeks or so. And we'll have our first Zoom meeting tomorrow. So tentatively, we have a start date for May 26th.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just saying before you came on how the governor opened the state up here in Maryland. And,
yes.
So they're trying to get things back to normal, but, it looks like the cases of COVID are still going up in the state. So it just shows a little concern,
Yeah, they're still rising. I have not watched the news in, believe it or not, 2 days. I've just seen like little clips, and I saw number 1.1 million cases, and the last thing I saw was 67,000 deaths, I think, for the United States. Well, maybe 69, I'm not really sure.
A lot of people.
Yes, that is a lot of people. I don't think it's over. I have my little theories about what it is and how it came about and all of that stuff, but we're not going to do that today.
All right, so good. We could if you wanted to, but I understand.
No, I'll just be going on and on and on. So no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, but I am a dental hygienist. I work in a private practice in Owings Mills, and yeah, so we closed down. Our last day of work was March 19th, and we pretty much are governed by the Maryland State Board of Dental Examiners. So we look to them for guidance And also Maryland State Dental Association, MSDA, but we're governed, the dental profession, everyone in it is governed by the Maryland State Board of Dental Examiners because they give you your license. So they put out mandates, rules, regs, guidelines that we're to follow. So we pretty much are getting information from them, information from the Maryland State Dental Association, which in turn, their feedback to us is coming from the CDC, of course, and then from the federal government, other entities in government. So
talk to you about today is,
yes.
right before this happened, I had an appointment set for my son to go to the dentist, and then this happened, and now he can't go because the dentist canceled anything except, I mean, even emergencies were canceled for a while, but now it's just emergency procedures. It seems like they're accepting. So people who would probably get regularly scheduled cleanings and things of that nature, they're not able to go to the dentist as much. Is there any advice you could share with people that, as far as how they're able to take care of their dental works in the meantime?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very basic. Brushing at least twice a day, if not 3, and flossing every day. You can use string floss. You can use the floss picks. You can use the flossers, the mechanical flossers. You can use an electric toothbrush. You can use a manual toothbrush. Just brushing and flossing. Now, if you were in the middle of treatment, especially in hygiene, a lot of times patients are scheduled for scaling and root planing because they have periodontal disease. So if you were in the process of having periodontal treatment, that is definitely something that was considered elective and routine that had to be put on hold. So you can use mouth rinses. There's Listerine comes to the top of my head for over-the-counter use. If you can call into your office, if it's open and you do have active periodontal disease, they can provide you with a prescription of something called chlorhexidine, so you can use that in the interim. What those will do, they're antiseptic, antimicrobial, antibacterial, all the same. They will reduce the bacterial count in your mouth. So they'll reduce the numbers of bacteria that are active in your mouth causing issues. Once you have it and once it's begun, only the treatment of the scaling and root planing is going to correct for it. But in the meantime, you can keep those numbers decreased. You can, of course, do your brushing and your flossing. I mean, taking care of your mouth is very, very basic. It's not any rocket science. It's not crazy. It's just really taking 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the evening. That's 4 minutes out of your day. If you take another 2 minutes midday, maybe for some folks who brush after lunch, that's 6 minutes. Flossing shouldn't take you more than 1 to 2 minutes. So that's 8 minutes for basic oral care. That's pretty much it.
So what would you say to somebody who's experiencing some type of pain? Like
For
a cavity
pain,
or
well, okay. So if you're having pain, most dental pain can be handled, if it's pretty mild, most of it can be handled with ibuprofen. Over the counter, you can take some ibuprofen. You can call your doctor in. They can maybe prescribe some 800 ibuprofen for you. You can get that from your physician, personal care physician, or your dental office. Again, if they're open for emergencies, then they will be able to provide you with prescriptions if you aren't allowed to come in. Now, I know when we transfer over to emergencies only, there were questions that there was a formula of questions that had to be asked of patients that called in for emergencies. And I know number 1 was, do you have a fever?
do you have
The
what?
second, do you have a fever? So if you had a fever, the top three symptoms that were presenting with coronavirus, the fever, I forget the other two. If you had those things checked off, then they didn't even schedule you an appointment. They would try to manage your pain by prescribing you something. If you check no for all of those, okay, come on in. You get in the office, they were taking your temperature, asking you those questions again, and we were actually taking the temperature. And of course, they have the temperature scans that go across the forehead. We don't have them. Well, at least our office, we don't have the little thermometers that go in the mouth. So if you get past that, then it's either a matter of now keep in mind, if it's a cavity that needs a filling, that is considered elective. All right. So, I mean, yeah, it's not an emergency until the cavity is too big to be filled, and you either have to have it removed, which we say extracted, or a root canal if you want to save it. If it can be saved, then root canals are a treatment plan. Now root canal can be done in an emergency. Say patient comes in, is killing them, they want to save it, it can be saved, then that's when root canals are done.
Is it a more expensive procedure to get a root canal or an extraction?
Oh, root canals are more expensive. It's more expensive to save your tooth. An extraction can cost $20, $25.
They say sometimes like a dentist will offer to do a root canal simply because it's a more expensive procedure than an extraction than to
I understand what you're saying. It's really the culture of dentistry is that we want to save teeth. So we want to help people save teeth. When you start removing teeth, it changes your facial structure, it changes your cheek, it changes the bone height in your mouth, teeth shift. Lots of different things happen when you just take teeth out. The main goal is to help a patient keep a full set of teeth. It changes a lot. Teeth shift, you lose bone. So the ultimate goal is to have a healthy dentition, a functional dentition. Dentition is just teeth. So to have a functional dentition so you can chew your food and get the proper nutrition in your body that you need. That's pretty much it. So yes, if there is an opportunity, and these are only recommendations. You do not have to save your tooth if you do not want to save your teeth. I have lots of patients that say, oh, nah, too much, I don't want to do it. Too many appointments, I don't want to do it. No, take it out. Okay, I'll deal with the consequences later. So that is solely up to you. It is not something that's forced on patients at all. I mean, why would we? Because then if we do it, we would have to eat the cost of it, because if you didn't want it, you're not going to pay for it. So that means collections and a whole bunch of other headaches that you really don't want. So no. Our goal is a healthy, functional dentition. That's pretty much it. That's why.
Okay. And I ain't gonna take up too much of your time, but I guess one of the other things that people are being confronted with right now is what they've been subjecting other people to. I said that at the start of the first live, is that, there was a time people be talking in people's faces and you're not necessarily conscious or cognizant that you didn't necessarily take the proper precautions. Now that you got that mask on and you're breathing in your own breath, you kind of know what you were subjecting other people to. So
I'll tell you what. Well, I'll say this. If you have persistent malodor, bad breath, then you have become immune to it, accustomed to it. Some people are very in tuned to that, and they know that about themselves. They smell it, and they just know. A lot of times it's just a lack of finances that people let things go in their mouths, because it's really not cheap. Dentistry is not cheap. So yeah, people know. You will know. If you choose to ignore it, then You choose to ignore
Yeah.
it, but you know when your mouth is not smelling right. Absolutely, you know
Yeah.
it. Your
Yeah, it's a
partner
crazy
knows
last.
it. I mean, and if your partner doesn't know it, then it's you and your partner probably have issues. So it's just something that you think is natural.
Yeah. Got to get it together though. Nobody likes bad breath,
Absolutely.
you know?
No way. Not kissing no bad breath.
No, yeah, absolutely.
No.
So like I said, I'm not gonna hold you too long. I did want you to come
Mhm.
on and let us know some things we could do to try to, you know, take care of ourselves during this pandemic. You know,
Yeah, no matter how
I mean,
much you
because there's
pay
a
for
lot of
dental insurance, the procedures are expensive. It's just expensive. It's like plastic surgery, expensive. So it's just procedures are expensive. Dental companies are only going to pay so much for a procedure, and lots of times the insurance companies charge are only going to pay you a fraction of what that procedure is worth.
so the dental
Meaning,
companies are only gonna pay the dentist a fraction of that.
exactly. So the dentist joins the network. And I don't know too much. I'm not in the front office too much. So this is based on my minimal knowledge of dental insurance. So the dentist agrees to join the network. When the dentist joins a network, Delta Dental, that dentist is agreeing to accept the prices that Delta Dental is going to pay them for a procedure. Does not
Mm.
necessarily mean that that's the price that the dentist charges for the procedure. So once your insurance pays, just like medical insurance, once your insurance pays what they're going to pay, then that's what's left. That's what you owe. That's what's left.
Yeah.
And no matter how much you pay for it, some people get the top of the line dental insurance and they still will pay a fraction of or a portion of your treatment. They're not going to pay 100%. The only thing that's 100% is preventive. And what is
Absolutely.
preventive is coming in every 6 months, getting your teeth clean, getting your checkup x-rays, and getting your dental exam. That's preventive. Everything else outside of that, no.
Okay. Now, what are your thoughts on some of the more homeopathic remedies as it pertains to dental health? Like, there was
I
something I
don't,
was
uh-huh. I'm
there
sorry.
was something I was introduced to a little while ago called pulling. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, yes, the coconut oil pulling is supposed to help treat gum disease, gingivitis, periodontal
Mm.
disease, gingivitis, bleeding gums. Persons that have bleeding gums will do the coconut pulling, and it's a really strict way to do it for it to be effective. It does work. I mean, I know folks that have used it and have done it. So, what you also have to keep in mind too is just like Corona is a virus, you got to minimize your contact with the bacteria. You can't minimize it in your mouth because that's what's in your mouth. The only thing you can do is decrease the numbers. Decrease the numbers of bacteria in your mouth. And the other side of that equation is the things that you eat. So, two types of dental infection only in your mouth. There's only two types. There's a gum infection and a tooth infection. The gum infection is periodontal disease. The teeth, when the teeth are infected, that's called a cavity. That's it.
And some people
So
be
the way,
smelling like they got the tongue infected, though.
well, yeah, bacteria can live. Your tongue is like pits and valleys, like hills and valleys. So when you look at it microscopically, so food, bacteria can get trapped inside there. So a person never brushes their tongue, yeah, so they're gonna have bacteria living, multiplying and growing and breaking down. When they break down, create that sulfur, and that's what you smell.
Mm.
So
Okay.
definitely that mean also brushing your tongue daily. You should brush your tongue daily. Every time you pick up your toothbrush, you should brush your tongue.
Okay. And you know, we're all grown here on the God Hour, and I'm
Sure.
just curious, what is the advice normally given for those who perform oral copulations? Is that normally something that you guys would
Say that again.
uh,
Say that again.
oral
Yeah,
copulations?
my cousin has oral
Is,
copulation. So
would
what
that
are
be
the
something?
consequences?
No, is that something that the dentist frowns upon? Is that something that you guys in the dental industry would tell somebody
No.
to?
No.
I'm just saying, like you said, you got to be careful what's going in your mouth sometimes. And I'm not trying to
No.
be crude or
No.
lewd. It's
I
just a
no,
real,
I understand what you're saying. I mean, that's a whole nother topic. So you got to know your partner. You got to know what you're dealing with. So no, no, the bacteria that lives in your mouth are not the same bacteria that are that populate the vagina or populate the
the other area. We get it. We get it.
yeah
I just wanted to
the
touch
yeah
on
you
it
know what I'm
because
saying.
since
So it's different bacteria. I mean, you can introduce bacteria to those locations,
if
and you can
in your mouth.
also swap. Correct. You can also swap bacteria, like um, between partners. Like you kissing somebody, and you have a partner who doesn't go to the dentist as regularly as you do, and they have cavities and that kind of sort of thing. The bacteria population in the mouth is different from family member to family member. So I'll give my kids as an example. My son never had a cavity. Never, ever, ever had a cavity from baby teeth to his adult teeth. My
Hmm.
girls have had cavities from their baby teeth to the adult teeth. So they everybody's bacterial count, everybody's bacterial makeup is very different, even in families. So if you never had a cavity ever, and then you meet somebody, you guys are doing your thing, you're loving each other, boom, you go to the dentist and you're like, wow, I have a cavity. So you can swap bacteria. That can happen.
Okay.
That can happen. Mouthwash is always good. You always make sure that it's antiseptic. If it doesn't say antiseptic, and it's not adding any benefit. So when I say antiseptic, I mean scope. No, that's just a breath
What,
freshener. You know those generic ones that you find in the dollar stores or on the shelf. If it does not say antiseptic, even if it's an off brand, if it doesn't say antiseptic on the label, then it does not add a benefit to your oral hygiene.
okay. What about peroxide? Is that a good substitute?
Well, peroxide is a cleanser. Uh, Peroxide is not something that you want to use in your mouth every day.
No.
I mean, no, because it'll slough the tissue in your mouth. It'll make your tissue look rough over time. So yeah, you don't want to use that every day. You can do that. A lot of people will mix some peroxide and baking soda to as a quick whitener for their teeth. You can use that paste maybe twice a week, maybe 3 times a
Really?
week. But no, I wouldn't do that every day.
Okay. What about medications given? Does that weaken the teeth?
Medications given weakening the teeth. The only place that I've known that's affected the teeth is radiation therapy, especially if it's neck and head and neck. They will cause what's called erosion, so that'll erode the teeth. A lot of patients who have cancers from the neck and above, after they've gone through their radiation treatment, not necessarily the chemo, but definitely the radiation, it erodes the teeth, and they end up losing a lot of their teeth. Um, the other the other instance is patients who are intubated and being fed by tubes, that the sugars, the carbohydrates that are in those pureed and liquefied foods, because they can't chew, that stuff
Hmm.
lays on the teeth. The sugars lay on the teeth, and the sugar and the bacteria will mix. Simple chemical reaction, it creates acid, and that's pretty much what breaks down the teeth. I know I'm trying to think of any other medications specifically not that are taken orally. No, no,
Okay.
like not taking pills. If that's what the person means, I'm not really sure.
So there's not something that's going to hit your bloodstream and then come back up through to affect
No,
your teeth.
no. Mm-mm. Your
Well, one thing
teeth
I've always heard.
develop
Mhm,
in utero. So
mhm.
when I say teeth develop in utero, that means that the minute your mom knows that she's pregnant with you, your teeth are developing. All of that stuff happens in utero, and then the first year of life, all your teeth are developing. So all
Utero,
those
that's a new
buds
word for me.
in utero just means when you're developing in the uterus, the fetus in the
In
uterus.
utero,
That's all that means.
I didn't even put uterus with it. In utero,
Yeah.
okay.
Uh-huh.
Live and learn.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm
So
doing here. I
yeah.
like that.
So tooth development starts there. It
Okay.
starts there. So sometimes things can happen. Maybe mom gets sick, has to take a medication, and I know there's some that have been banned from like the 40s and 50s, like the baby boomers. Some have been
Hmm.
banned because they noticed that the children, once they grew up and their teeth came in, they had brown spots or black spots or whatever. Most of the time it was brown spots. The tetracycline staining, that was a I'm not even talking about just getting in the shower and let water wash on you. What happens when you don't bathe with soap and water frequently? What happens?
You stink, one, but I
Correct.
guess
All
that
right.
could.
So what do you think is causing the malodor?
Mm,
That's a question. Anybody can answer
sweat
it, but
glands.
it's bacteria. Overgrowth of bacteria. And so they began to break down. They began to break skin down, break down. It breaks down. So that's what that is. I'll have to look
Health.
those
Mm,
medications
mm,
up.
mm,
Matraxate. Yeah, not brushing properly. Yes, you can
mm.
damage your teeth not brushing properly. Yep.
It was
Plaquenil
funny.
and what was it?
Yeah,
Plaquenil. I have to write those down because I
yeah,
can look them up and get back to you.
yeah. I used to run a group home with teenagers, and I remember
Yes.
we used to always want to work with them on their hygiene. And I remember one of the kids, I
Yes.
went to him, I said, "Yo, did you brush your teeth?" And the first thing he did
Mm-hmm.
was take his tongue and run it across his teeth. And I'm like, "Look, bro, no. Just because you don't feel your teeth are
Okay,
dirty,
thank
you
you.
have to
Thank you,
brush your teeth."
exposure. So,
But
I know for a fact that the radiation erodes the teeth. I
mhm.
believe what happens with the chemo treatment is it leaches the fluoride from the teeth and it leaches the main matrix that helps with the formulation of your teeth. So I think over time that leaches out of your teeth and it causes erosion. So
Gotcha.
that may be. I'll have to look those two up again. Thank you again.
All right, and thank you, Michelle. We really appreciated getting
Oh,
this lesson
no
on our
worries.
oral health. I think that we teeth are like one of those. The mouth is one of those things you don't know how much you need it or how sensitive it is until you get a toothache or
Yeah,
you lose, you take it
absolutely.
for
It's
granted.
like it's a whole nother world. Fortunately, I have never ever suffered from a toothache, so I can't.
No,
I
oh, you're
can
lucky.
empathize. I can, but I cannot. I don't know. I have
I
never had a
asked.
toothache.
I literally asked my mother. My first bad toothache came when I was right before I went into the military, and I asked
Very
my mother
important
to
queen of
shoot
customer
me.
service. Yes, they
Yeah.
are. Thank you so much.
I told my mother to shoot me because I was in so much pain. I was like, "Mom, just go ahead,
Yeah,
get me up out of here."
and and
And she
and,
took me
and
to the.
so what happened? Yeah, I'm sorry, and that's what happens. Folks come in and they're like, I can't do it anymore. Just take it out. Just take it
Yeah,
out, and worse than childbirth. I don't know about that. I had contractions, but I never had a
but you
toothache.
ain't had a
So,
toothache. It's serious. I'm telling you.
but I mean, and that's really the running theme every woman that I would say 90% of the women that come through that have had childbirth and a toothache, that's what they tell me.
Spotty.
They would rather have a baby. If you have like specific topics that are generated, then I can, get my notes together and talk about very specific things. But just generally anything very specific that you want to talk about, hey, just let me know, shoot me the topic, and then we can talk about that for 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes.
No doubt. See, what I want to ask you though, what is your take on cosmetic dentistry?
Cosmetic dentistry it's wonderful. I mean, it's not something that is cheap, but it's wonderful. Folks that want to enhance their smile, and cosmetic is anything from braces to straighten and line teeth to veneers to whiten and brighten your smile and enhance your smile. I'm all for smile enhancement. I've loved smile since I was little. Yeah, the fronts. That's not really cosmetic. That's like that's jewelry. Fronts are jewelry.
A little bit when I was younger.
Yeah, that's not cosmetic. Don't confuse it. Fronts is just tooth jewelry. That's all. I love a beautiful smile. I love smiles since I can remember.
Led you into the field?
Oh my goodness, yeah. My aunt was a dental assistant when I was a little girl, and I used to go in the office with her. And I don't know, to be real corny, I love teeth. I love a beautiful smile. That's the first thing I notice. That's the first thing I look at when I meet a person, when I'm talking to someone. Mm-hmm. I look at their teeth. And I'm like, man, I love a beautiful smile. Love it.
So people be smiling like this.
Yeah, and I'm always cheesing. I'm be cheesing wide. Yeah, that's the first thing I look at. And it has been for quite some time. So I love it.
Yeah. I appreciate you, Michelle. Seriously.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, they can't believe that your teeth are so beautiful and white. I will come back. Thank you, guys. Keep those teeth beautiful. Keep those smiles healthy.
Definitely.
Thank you, Nat.
We're gonna work on getting your DSL upgraded to
Okay, I will. Okay? I'm working on it. I promise I will. Good night, everyone.
All right, take care.
Good night.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. It was very informative, although it was a little spotty. It was very informative, and I hope that we got something from it. If you have any additional questions, I did make a post that has her Instagram information in it. She's new to the platform, so be patient with her. But she's more than willing to help any of us with questions. Like I said, teeth are very important, man. I thought it was a very important issue, especially during this pandemic when people aren't making it to the dentist as much as they would like to and things of that nature. Outside of that, man, I appreciate the handful of you guys, the ladies, and some of my fellas that come on here every day with me Monday through Friday at the guard hour, which is 7 p.m. and chop it up with me. I really appreciate it.